Hello and welcome as always, I am Sean. This is In The Mix, episode 80. It's the finish for another week and it's the finish of our first season in the championship. It has been a roller coaster of emotion. It's had its highs, it's had some very low lows. But as we reflect on it, we did set a target at the start of the season that we wanted to stay in division. We have secured that. I'll go through our results in a moment. We can't get relegated. We can potentially try and finish as high on the table as we want. We can't make playoffs. Unfortunately, that we're falling just short of that target if everything goes our way. But it has been a largely successful year, and I think I need to maintain that perspective quite a bit when it comes to this save. We're moving into nearly 10 seasons completed of the save. We're already up to a championship level, which is absolutely insane. We are far and above out of our league in terms of like club reputation, finances, quality of squad, all of that sort of stuff that comes with time in these saves and that you can kind of take for granted when you're managing like a Manchester United or a PSG or something like that. So more than anything in this episode, we're going to finish off the season. We're going to reflect on all the awards. We're going to reflect on some players that unfortunately won't be here next year. And more than anything, just retain perspective on how well we've actually done. Let's jump into the game now. As you guys can see, 44 games played. We have won 17, drawn 9, and lost 18, which is a fantastic result. We currently sit in 16th spot. We have played one game less than the majority of the other teams in the division, where we will be playing Charlton today. For them, still a massive fixture. They could still save themselves and relegate one of Portsmouth or Wigan if they win their games and results go their way. Potentially, if we beat them today, mathematically, they still can get above Portsmouth. But really, look at that negative 12 goal difference. It would be the final nail in the coffin. As far as our schedule has gone since the last episode, we are still undefeated. Of course, we beat Portsmouth and then drew 0-0 with Sheffield United in a very tight contest that could have gone either way. We then beat second in the table Cardiff 2-0. A very good performance. A Nyambe own goal in the 63rd minute and Henry Dorian wrapping it up with a wonderful solo strike in the 91st minute. For a 2-2 draw with Stoke, we did go a goal down to Ben Brereton just inside at the second half. We then turned it around really quickly, goals in the 60th and 63rd minute after we made our subs, but they broke hearts, pulled one back in the 94th minute. We did also miss a penalty. Robert Ramsey had a really poor game, not just because of the penalty, but also in terms of general play. So we had our chances. I think 2-2 was a fair result. Both of Ben Brereton's goals were very good finishes. And it has been a nice little undefeated run, effectively one that has dragged us away from getting into any promotion scrap. Again, if you didn't watch the episode yesterday, you will have seen we just changed our shape. That's all we did. We didn't change any tactics. We didn't change any mentalities. No real player roles changed. We've just used a 4-4-1-1 at this season, a 4-4-2, and now a 4-2-3-1, which has kind of seen us over the line. I can't make sense of it. I'm not going to try and explain the match engine to people. I don't get it myself. There are a couple of high-level notes to keep an eye on. Henry Dorian is likely to finish as leading scorer as long as Ryan Brewster and Tyrese John Jules don't have massive final games of the season. And the other one, Franz Wolf, is actually level on average rating for the year. If he can get above that, I think he's a good shout to actually win player of the season. And of course, I did mention at the start, there's a couple of players that we know won't be coming back. There's quite a few here that have contracts that are up at the start at the end of this season. The big three that I think we want to focus on are Scott Welsh, who we've had on loan from Arsenal. He's been absolutely tremendous at the back for us. Unfortunately, they're not interested in selling him for anything less than like 100 million, which is bonkers when his value is only 1.6. But him also being on £7,000 a week is above what we can currently afford. Robert Ramsey will likely leave. He'll head back to Middlesbrough. He's been in and out of the team. Sometimes he's struggled, sometimes he's played well, but he has added a valuable depth to the squad. He'll return. I think even if we could get the finances together, I don't necessarily want to keep him. I don't think that's the direction we want to head for next season. And then, of course, the superstar up top, Henry Dorian, he's been absolutely magnificent for us. The first wonder kid that we've had in the series so far on loan from Chelsea. He'll go back to them a more complete player and likely the championship top scorer if the wheels don't come off in this episode. And I say that knowing very well the wheels could come off. Anything could happen. But he's been absolutely magnificent for them. So, of course, we give them a fond farewell and a great salute before the season ends. So this is the lineup that we're going to go for in the match against Charlton. Donkin in goal. He's done quite well over the last 10 games or so, really holding down that position. Greisinger and Velch will play for the second last time as central defenders together, unless one of them gets sent off or something. Preston Kelly, in one of his last appearances, he's already signed for a team back in Ireland, which is where he'll head next year. And Wright will not sign a new contract. Oh, sorry, he wants a new contract. I will not offer him one, is probably a better way to put that. The Wolf comes back in. He will play the last 2 games of this season in the hope that he has some fantastic matches and get himself that Player of the Season award. He'll play alongside Granger, and Wademan moves out to right wing because at the moment, Dorber's got a bit of a knock and I don't want to force him through. Ramsey will play at the 10. Rafinha will play on the left wing. He scored a cracker in the last game against Stoke, and Doran will lead the line up top. They're playing a very similar 4-2-3-1 shape, albeit a little bit more asymmetric in the midfield here. They've still got Adama Traore playing at 33 years of age, still just solid. Some of the physical beast traits that he has at the start of the game are kind of starting to slow down quite a little bit. So he's not the player he once was, but still a serviceable option at a championship level. He's got the highest average rating as well. They've got Lee McMillan, who they've had for a couple of seasons, came through the Manchester United Academy, looks very solid. 16 finishing, 16 first touch, 16 aggression, all jump out at you relatively quickly. He looks like a decent player. And on the left wing, they've got Obando, who they've picked up from Boca Juniors via Lanús in Argentina. He looks to be a very solid option as well on that left wing. Molina, their captain in midfield, he looks fairly solid as well. 24-year-old ex-Liverpool junior and Spanish under-21 international. You can kind of see with the quality of their squad why they are sitting back down towards the division. And of course, if you've been watching the series for a while, these are the guys that finished runners-up to us last year in League One. Passionately, we're going to say the media have given a lot of credit lately, and hopefully we can harness that to a good performance. And we're still waiting. I didn't mention it at the start, but we're still waiting to have that 6-point episode. We haven't had one in the championship yet. Are we going to leave it till the very last games of this season to actually try and get 6 points in a match? We've got to throw in here, but Abando's won the ball back off Wolf. Wolf's only going to get through probably about an hour in this match, regardless of his match rating, just because he's still working his way back from that hamstring injury he had a few weeks ago. He's recovered possession in a good area. Grasinger now, ball forward towards Doran. Good header from Mansell. Wolf recovers in midfield and plays it out wide right to Wademan. Resets through Wolf. Finds the overlapping run of right. Tries to wrap his foot around it. Rafinha was there with a good flick on header, but McLean in the Charlton goal equal to it and holds. Long ball over the top. He's looking for McMillan off the shoulder here, and he's gotten goal side, and he's found the finish. Shit, so that wasn't quite the direction I thought that was going to go in as the play built up. 16th goal of the season for him. We did profile him, and he looked all right. 16 finishing, 16 first touch. You see both of them here as he catches this one pretty much over his shoulder. It's a good ball forward from McLean, but that's pretty poor defensively from Welsh, and a great first touch, and to be honest, a wonderful finish just inside the bottom right-hand corner. Now, what does that do to the league table? That would push, or we'll see it in a second, but McLean's got the ball here. Plays it forward to Mansell, back to McLean again. Forward to Molina. Midfield press needs to step up just a little bit. Now Clough's got him goal side in midfield and drives out left towards Obando. Just stand him up, boys. Don't do anything silly. Square one to Mohammed. They try and get across him, but it's closed down well. Wademan with a long ball forward to no one in particular. Brockbank recovers for Charlton. They're playing a nice little triangle here in midfield. Mohammed again, driving towards right with a good ball, but we've won it in a decent area. Wademan with the ball now. Skips past one challenge on the right-hand side. Find your composure. Get your head up. Pick out a pass. Looks back stick towards Rafinha and the header just over the crossbar. Now, what I was going to say is that would take Charlton up into 21st spot and put Portsmouth down in the relegation spots. Don't get me wrong, I do want to win this game. We're not set up trying to do Charlton any favours at any point, and McMillan's got a double. So, this is just one of those things when you reload the game. We're on fantastic form, haven't lost in a while. We reload the game, and then we also start recording, and it's like all of that shit goes out the window. It's very frustrating. We're 2-0 down now, so we're going to go positive. I'm also going to use our Get Creative shout. We've got a highlight here. Barretto's picked up the ball for Charlton and gone long up the line. Wright should recover possession and played into Welsh. Now Granger, we can work it out to the left-hand side. Grasinger goes direct to Rafinha instead of playing through the fullback. But it's a good ball across, and he's knocked it down for Doran. It was Wademan, I think, with the knockdown header. And Doran with his 30th goal of the season. A wonderful performance from the Wonder Kid. And I think that will help him on his way to trying to win the Golden Boot for the season. Good crossfield ball there from Grasinger, and Rafinha does very well here. It's a vicious ball. Wademan, I think, did it deliberately. Let's pretend. Let's give him benefit of the doubt. He knocks down a little cushion header, and Doran, not the cleanest of strikes you'll ever see, but does very well to smash it past the keeper. And we pull one goal back. Can we try and find a second one as we head towards half-time? All right, 10 minutes remaining in the half. I'm going to use Get Creative again. It worked last time. Everyone seems inspired, but they've got a highlight here deep in their own half. Rafinha nearly won it back, but it's played to Adama Traore. Now back to Molina. Overlapping fullback is James. Back to Molina. They don't seem to want to get across in here. Adama with the ball, steps inside one and gets the drive away, but thankfully just wide of the near post. 2 minutes of additional time to be added on here. At least we know we can fire the rocket a bit at half-time, which has been signalled for now. 2-1 down. We've had 8 shots, 4 on target, 44% possession. They've had 4 shots, 3 on target, and 56% of the ball. Aggressively, I'm going to say, show me something else in the second half. And tactically, let's stay on positive for 15 more minutes, and then let's tidy up some of these player roles. Lewis Wright as a wing-back, Reisinger as a central defender, Wademan as a winger on attack. That's fine. I can work with all of that. Let's give it 15 more minutes, and we'll have a look at form, fitness, and potentially switch back to our attacking roles to try and push on and find a win. Wright with a throw in here, finds the Wolf. Now Wright in very deep at the byline. Ramsey with the ball crossed towards Doran, and he's done quite well. Second goal of the game for him, and a wonderful little assist there for Ramsey. He hasn't contributed enough, I think, goal assist for the season, given that he's essentially playing as the 10 in a free role. And it's good little work here. Wright did quite well. Stayed tight to the byline, squared it up to Ramsey. Good little dink ball front post, and Doran just peeled off his marker there to get enough space to flick the header near post. 31st goal of the season for him, and he's on track for a hat-trick here if we can push on and try and find a winner in the last 30 minutes. All right, we're through the hour mark now. We're just going to go on average rating. Rafinha's got a yellow card. I don't have another left midfielder on the bench, so we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Preston Kelly I will take off because I don't trust him. So Sam Morris will come on and play as a fullback. The Wolf hasn't had the best game, which is unfortunate. We might bring Wademan back into midfield, and we might bring on Dorba at right wing, just to go a little bit more attacking, see if we can try and hurt them on the break here. We'll stay with 2 subs for the time being, and I will hold off on that last one for the last 10 minutes or so. We're also going to use our Get Creative shout. So far, so good. It's gotten us through a couple of different things. Everyone seems inspired by it, but we haven't had any highlights since our second goal. 10 minutes remaining. Let's use that last sub. Who's struggling the most? Welsh hasn't had a good game. Bring on Tyrone Taylor. I'm not sure it's actually going to achieve anything, but we will change up the defender based on match rating. Let's also go passionately. I have faith in you, get out there and make a difference. And let's use our demand more shout in a moment. We've got to throw in here on the left wing. Let's go demand more and screw it. Let's go attacking. Last few minutes. Come on, boys. Push on. Try and find that winner. 4 minutes of additional time to be added on here. What does a point do for Charlton? It leaves them in the relegation spots. And the referee calls full time. So we are still undefeated on this little run, but we should have won that game. 17 shots, 8 on target, 42% possession. 6 shots, 4 on target, and 58% of the ball for Charlton. I'm going to say you've done brilliantly to come back and salvage a draw, just to keep morale up. But in reality, I think it's 2 points dropped rather than a point earned when you look at Charlton's current league position. That does leave them 1 win from safety going into the last game of the season. If Portsmouth or Wigan drop points, they can leapfrog them both to stay into the division. So it's really going down to the wire. Rotherham, Nottingham Forest, both already relegated. Heading into the last game of the season, we could finish, if games go our way, as high as 10th, but that would require a pretty big goal swing. We could jump through a couple of different teams here, depending on results on the final day that are on 61 points, 63 points, and whatever else. We're still on -3 goal difference. If we can get a big win on the last day and get back to 0, that would be a mark of success. Looking at the playoff positions, Watford are pretty much settled. Bristol City have snuck into 2nd place. Reading and Cardiff are also still within a shout going into the last game of the season. Reading's goal difference would make me think that they are potentially the most likely to get the victory and maybe move up into 2nd. It'll all depend on what the fixtures are like. And then Sheffield United, Swansea, Luton, Barnsley and West Brom look to be the teams that could potentially go into the top 6, 5th and 6th spot. The last one's outstanding on the last day of the season. So still a tremendous amount around the league to actually play for. Charlton hold out for draw. Henry Doran gets the man of the match award. I'm going to send the assistant along to the press conference because at this point of the year, they're all boring. We'll tell Henry Doran how magnificent he was, and hopefully we can get just one last little performance out of him before the season ends. I'm not going to worry too much about squad depth or training or everything. Everyone can have a week off before the last game of the season, and let's just try and enjoy it as much as humanly possible before the season comes to an end. Magic of editing though, we'll jump forward to the game against Rotherham now. Just like that, we're a few days ahead. This is the lineup that we're going with for the last game of the season. Donkin in goal, Gryson and Welch as the central defenders, Preston Kelly and Wright as the fullbacks, as they have been for so long. Their last games for the club. Granger and Wolf in midfield. Wolf's real last opportunity to try and go after the Player of the Season award. Ramsey, who's now our leading assist maker, which is an interesting one. I haven't quite picked up on that. And Rafinha and Wademan on the wings. We did have a couple of knocks picked up throughout the course of the week, so it does mean that Ricky Dean, who's been fantastic for us over the last few years, makes his last appearance for the club already. It'll be sad to see him go, but we do have to move on. And Daniel Knowles as well. His contract's up at the end of the season. He's been fantastic for us for a few years, but he's not on the bench today, so his club career is effectively finished. They're playing a 4-2-3-1, very similar actually, very balanced, similar to ours, which is going to be interesting. They are already relegated. They've got nothing left to play for. We're just going to go into it with a positive mentality and try and play as well as we possibly can. Assertively, I'm just going to say, Media have been fantastic today. Well, Media have given you a lot of credit, Lee. Let's go and be equal to it. This is not the best pre-match team talk I've ever done, certainly in terms of explaining it to you guys, but you know what I'm going for at this point. Doran with the long ball forward. He's beaten one. He's not got much of an angle to work with. Maybe could have tried to get to the byline and cut it back for Wademan, who was making a lung-busting run into the box, but strikes at the goalkeeper. And to be honest, you'd want your striker to be trying to hit the target, which he did. Flick on header here, and Hassan Ali's pulled one back for Rotherham. So much so that I've hiccuped as I've tried to say it there. It's a little bit interesting. It might be against the run of play. It's hard to tell 5 minutes in, but Gutman with the ball. Flick on header from Bio. Donkin does well, but can only push it back out to Hassan Ali. And they go a goal up. And his second goal of the season, despite playing on the right wing. It's not going to change anything as far as the league structure is concerned. Wademan nearly won the ball back there. Donkin's now doing the one-man press. Kalau, the goalkeeper for Rotherham, goes forward to Sykes. Lads, if he's going to go, we've got to go with him, help him out a little bit. Wademan with the ball into Ramsey in midfield, who's got a bit of time to turn. He could have run. Instead, he goes out right to right, who's made a good overlapping run. Ramsey back to right again. Can we get a ball into the box here? Ramsey, try and find feet, boys. He's forced a ball when it wasn't really on. Indio plays it forward to Bio, who moves down the left wing. Wright's gone through the back of him. We're going to go down to 10 men here in the first 15 minutes. This is going to be Wright's last act for the club, and it's to get himself 2 yellow cards inside the first 14 minutes. And if anything summed up the last year of his career with us, I think that was it. So we're down to 10 men now. What are we going to do? We're going to take Ramsey off because the number 10's a luxury. We're going to go to this 4-2-3 mentality. All right, Ramsey's not played poorly. Phil Nelson will come on. Also going to be his last appearance for the club as well. He'll play as a fullback on defend. And what else can we do there? Rafinha's also already picked up a knock. Should I try and make 2 subs now? Screw it. Yeah, let's bring on Dave Rowley. Why not, eh? 15 minutes in or 14 minutes in. 1-0 down to 10 men. Let's use our get creative shout as well. Let's get real weird with it. We've got a corner here. Oh no, that highlight just randomly comes to an end. Hassan Ali. Preston Kelly wins it back and plays it towards Doran, but he loses out to Sykes with the header. Crossfield switch is poor. Nelson's first involvement is to win the ball back. Doran with a lovely nook cushion header to bring Granger into play. And finds Doran over on the right-hand side. He's got a lot of work to do, but he's done fantastically well there, Henry Doran. And he's going to go out with a bang here. 32nd goal of the season. He had absolutely no angle to work with. He was one out against 4 defenders and a goalkeeper. Firstly, that header to cushion it and bring it back to Granger is tremendous. And then Granger just kind of measures, picks him out in that left-hand channel, skips past one challenge, and then first one to the deflected ball, gets there before the striker, gets there before the defender, gets there before the keeper, and slides it beyond for the equalising goal. We've got to throw in here for Rotherham. I nearly said for Charlton, that was last game. Living in the past. Indio, top of the box, plays it to Bio, reverse pass to Coyne. Good little play here from Rotherham, and they've done it again. They've forced a save out of Donkin, and Donkin can only force it back into the 6-yard area. And Bio has gotten a goal to put them ahead again. What is going on here? So Indio, it is a good little play. Like, take nothing away from it. Lovely from Bio. Coyne works the angle from the strike, and then Donkin forces it back into the 6-yard box. And again, we've got bodies around the ball, just none of them are switched on enough or reacting quick enough to get a head or a foot or whatever else on it. And Rotherham, it must be said, take a deserved 2-1 lead. Ball backstick run here, it's pinballing around, and what has gone on there? Knight has scored to send us 3-1 down. Alright, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go into our tactics. We're going to go attacking. I probably should check out what this replay looks like. No, we've already skipped it inadvertently. If we switch to attacking, what's going to happen to our player roles? We just need to tidy those up real quick. Phil Nelson's also on a yellow card already. He's been on the field for, 10 minutes? Rowley and Wademan. Let's move them to attack as well. Confirm that. Let's see what we can do, boys. They've got the ball here again. Hassan Ali on the right-hand side, trying to get in towards the 6-yard box. Cuts it back for Coyne. We're 4-1 down against the worst team in the division, against a team that's already relegated. What is it about turning on this recording software that could take a team that hasn't lost in 8 games or 9 games, and now an already relegated side, worst side in the division, is 4-1 up against us in 27 minutes. Yes, proceed with tactical changes. And let's also use our demand more shout, because this is a fairly pathetic way to sign off on the season. They've got a free kick here. If this goes in and we're 5-1 down inside 30 minutes, I'll be livid. They've hit the post and Granger scrambles it away. What is going on? 3 minutes to be added on at the end of the first half here. We're through that now. 13 shots, 8 on target, 54% possession. 7 shots, 5 on target, 46% for us. Aggressively. Show me something else in the second half, boys. The worst part is, I've already made 2 subs, and we're down to 10 men, and we've got guys picking up yellow cards all across the pitch. Through the hour mark now, we've got to throw in very deep on our side. Preston Kelly takes it to Rowley, to Wolf, switch out towards Wademan, does a lovely touch around the player. Well, we could have played in Doran there. Instead, he goes himself and gets a strike away. If he had maybe laid that off to Doran, I think it would have been a tap home. Instead, he went himself and did well to force the save, but I would have preferred the goal. Corner, nothing doing. Ball forward to Hassan Ali, who's 1v1 because we've had the fullback sent off. Preston Kelly did well to actually recover there. They've got a corner here, Indio to take. Watch with the header away. Rowley can drive forward. Carry the ball, please. Carry the ball, please. He plays a reverse pass to Doran, who I think might be offside, but he's done quite well. Yeah, he's ruled out for offside. It looked at it in the build-up, to be fair. but the referee waits for us to find the finish and then decides to break my heart. We've got one more sub up our sleeve. What can we do here? Who's struggling the most? Preston Kelly. Like, I shouldn't say anything because he was tremendous for us at like a League One level, but just this past 2 seasons, he's been terrible. Assertively, I have faith in you make a difference. Even last season when we were winning League One, like he just continually seemed to give me issues, and he's continued to do so now. Get creative. He's coming off. Morris will finish. Morris will also make his last appearance for the side as well. Granger with the corner finds Rowley. Flick on header here. It's pinballing around, and the Wolf has gotten his 9th goal of the season. It's definitely an element he added to his game. His debut season for us last year, I think he got 1 goal, and this year he's added 9 to the bow. That'll do wonders for his match rating, and he's not going to get many easier goals than that, to be honest with you. I think it was Doran and Bio clattered for the ball there, and from about 30 centimetres out, he's done quite well to poke that one home. Kalau with the long ball forward. Wademan knocks it over to Doran. Can we do anything here? He beats one challenge and gets the strike away for a split second there. I thought that was heading towards the top corner, but just over the crossbar, which, to be fair to him, he hasn't done a tremendous amount so far this season. Missed chances. 79th minute, corner to be taken. Yelch with the header, Yelch. His name's Welch, but I like the way that I've yelled that out. Long ball forward. Hassan Ali's on his own on the right-hand side again. Morris does well to recover possession. Sends it in the corner for Rowley to chase. Edwards to Sykes. All the way back to Kalau in goal. Forward to Johnson. It's just the intelligence in the press isn't great in this year's match engine. I don't know why 2 guys would both run towards the ball when one could peel off and take the passing angle. They've worked a shot there. Bio nearly added to his tally. Right, watch this corner play out, and then we're going to use this shout. Hassan Ali doesn't beat the first man. Granger with the header away. Back out to Hassan Ali again. Flick on header from Nash was poor. Out for the goal kick. We're going to use our get creative shout. Let's just try and pull some goals back. Try and make it interesting for the last few minutes here. Rotherham are playing like a Premier League side for whatever reason in their last game of the season. 3 minutes to be added on at the end of this. It's rocketing through, and the referee calls full time. We've lost 4-2 to Rotherham, who were already relegated, had nothing to play for. Maybe that's all they needed all season, was no pressure. 23 shots, 12 on target, 53% possession for them. Wonderful stat line. Like, we beat 2 Premier League sides this season in Burnley and Bournemouth, and they didn't have stat lines like that against us. 16 shots on target for us. 16 shots, 8 on target for us. 47% possession. And Lewis Wright ends his career with FC Isle of Man suspended. I'm going to calmly say, would be nice to win, but it wasn't meant to be. Welsh has switched off, but that's fine. Like, he's heading back to his parent club anyway. Where does that leave the final day of the season? Charlton eventually go down. They lost on the final day of the year to Brentford 3-1. So Charlton and Nottingham Forest and Rotherham, of course, with nothing to play for, finished rock bottom of the league. We are going to end up in 16th position, which is absolutely fine. There was only a couple of points between that and 14th, only a couple of games in those really poor runs that we had that may have potentially also seen us jump up as high as 6th spot. We're only 7 points off Sheffield United in 6th position. And in reality, it's just this 19 defeats is too many for a side that wants to challenge for even promotion spots at this level. It's incredibly even division. Like, this middle section is just ridiculous. It's only 2 or 3 results turning the other way, and we could have been right up towards the top half of the league. Watford, of course, already won the league a couple of games ago. Bristol City worked their way into the additional automatic place. Cardiff, unfortunate to lose out on goal difference alone. And Reading, the team that lost on the final day of the season, drew 2-2 with Bristol on the final day of the season to put themselves in the playoff positions as well. Swansea and Sheffield, who I think were the 2 sides that were already in there going into the final day, consolidate 5th and 6th spot. It's a weird one for Swansea because they are actually currently managed by ex-FC Isle of Man coach Jamie Vardy. If you look at his milestones here, he was coach with us for just over 1 year before he got the Swansea job. Wish him all the best, just not when he plays against us, which I think he beat me twice. Team secure playoff spots. Rafinha's injured, that's fine. Wright's banned for a match, who cares? And we get fined $5,000 on the last day of the season for receiving 6 yellow cards in the game. Let's clear everybody out because there's quite a few players that we are going to be getting rid of. These guys who have 2029 contracts up, thank you very much for your services, boys. I do really appreciate it. Let's add them to sell or release. Let's drop them down into the under-23 squad. We'll leave the 3 guys that are here on loan just till the end of the season so they don't get upset. Actually, you know what? Screw it. Let's look at the enormity of the task. Let's put these guys in the under-23 squad. And then in addition to that, there's a couple of guys that I think we're also going to transfer list. For the time being, we'll leave Granger, Taylor and Rowley in, just to have a look at some of the other players that we can get in on the free transfer market. Knowles and Rafinha, though, we're going to add both of these guys to the unwanted list. Sell for any price, and we're also going to offer them to clubs. Again, both have been fantastic servants for us, but at 20 and 22, they're not going to hit the high level of potential that we need them to. And to be honest, there's better players out there on the market that could potentially take us to Premier League level. Let's move them to the under-23 squad as well. So what does that leave us with? Not a tremendous amount. We've got 9 people that we're potentially retaining into next season, and even a couple of those guys that are now down to 4-star potential, I'm not 100% sure we want to try and keep around for another year. But for these boys that we've just moved down, thank you for your services, lads. You will be missed. We appreciate everything you've done for us up until this point. But we look to the future now, and we look to this ever-growing list of players that are coming in on free transfers at the end of the season. Some of whom we've paid for, some of whom we've just been waiting to turn 18. But we have a little bit of a shop coming through in terms of players that are going to join the squad. There are still additional players that we want to try and bring in. You can see here Langston at Liverpool, Barry at Liverpool, Langston at Man United. We want to try and pick them up at the end of their contracts. They look to have pretty high potential, but there's a lot of stuff going on around the divisions for players that we want to try and bring in. We also haven't been given our transfer budget for next season yet, or our wage budget, so hopefully they're slight increases as well, and we can actually start offering some of the good players that we've kept hold of a little bit of extra cash to hang around the club. As far as the competitions are concerned, final day of the season, it does still include a lot of detail around the playoffs as well. It looks like Henry Doran has done enough, 30 goals scored, to get himself into the Golden Boot standings, and neither Brewster or Brentford player John Jules are involved in the playoffs, so they're not going to add to their tallies. Diane for Derby, his season's over, and Franz Wolf looks like he had the second highest, level with Pepe, who is potentially still playing. Oh no, Bristol's already promoted out of an automatic spot, so I don't think that's really going to change all that much either. But what we will do is we will jump forward. We'll have a look at how the 2 playoffs go for Cardiff, Reading, Swansea and Sheffield United. We'll go through to the playoff final to see who else goes up for the season, and we'll also do a recap of the end of season awards, which is always a really good place to spend. Right, here we go. The budgets have been set for next season. It's only 67k and 2.38 million, which isn't terrible considering how far we've come as a club, but it's not quite the massive increase I was potentially hoping to get based on, like TV revenue, increased sponsorship, increased gates that we've received throughout the course of the season. We will still be, by a long way, if we have a look at the championship wage expenditure, well and truly at the bottom of the division. Charlton, who got relegated, spend 4 times as much as we do. And even I think that 60k isn't going to be far off what we're spending right now. So maybe we try and push some of that transfer budget across into free transfers. I don't really want to use the loan market again next season, but it might be an inevitability if we only have wage budget available. All right, we've got a good few updates here, which makes me think we're about to go on our end of season team break. I don't think any of the championship playoffs have been played yet, but we'll still try and skip through and include those. As we look at it here, the best choice 11, the overall best 11 squad, Franz Wolf is the only player to join from this year's team, and he absolutely deserves it, right there in the centre of the park. He's been magnificent for us both last season in League One and this season in the Championship, really taking his game to another level. Thank God we've got him on a long-term deal and can hold on to him. And I think he's probably the main player that we've got that we actually own that will be a player that we can potentially take up to the Premier League with us if we get to that standard. From the active squad, Jack Donkin makes a substitutes bench as backup goalkeeper, which is an interesting one. Tyrone Taylor is now in at centre-back, and Sean Wademan makes the bench himself. So very, very interesting stuff, given that Taylor lost his position in the second half of the year. As far as the end of season awards go, Franz Wolf was 78% of the vote, pretty similar margin to how he won it last year. Chris Granger, interestingly, the second place one there, and Dave Rowley as third choice. Both guys that didn't play a tremendous amount. It's weird that they picked Granger ahead of Wademan, but I guess we had better runs of form with Granger in the side. Our goal of the season was Franz Wolf against Brentford. We're going to check that one out here. He did score some absolute corkers. There was one really great long-range strike that was like curling and bending and dipping. I wonder if this will be the one. Rafinha with the counter-attack here, and he must be arriving slowly in the box. Granger plays it across to Wolf. This is the one that I'm thinking of. Wonderful strike there. Just absolutely rifles at him from the edge of the area. Definitely an element to his game he's added throughout the course of this season, and hopefully that will continue next year. That was in a 3-0 defeat of Brentford. A very good performance from the side. Granger gets signing of the season. Franz Wolf, of course, gets Young Player of the Season, still only 20. And the season review is very complimentary. We were expected just to avoid relegation, and we managed to achieve a solid mid-table finish, albeit the bottom of the middle, if you want to look at 16th as that level. Recap here of our very first squad, which of course had some great players in it. Club vision and expectations. Strive to make progress on and off the pitch is pretty much all that they've expected us to do. Avoid relegation again. I'm fine with that. Let's go with that. And work within the wage budget. They've gotten rid around some of the expectations we had around our playing style, which is very, very interesting. We used to have to do the high press and play attacking football and whatever else, and they've gotten rid of that piece. So I think they care more about keeping the probably influx of cash into the club than anything else. I think now would be a good time to let players know what you want to achieve for next season. I'm going to say assertively, Let's passionately say you all deserve to be congratulated for staving off the threat of relegation this season. We're going to work hard to make sure we're well clear of that next year. Okay, you're not going to get very far asking the squad to complete on a level we're not remotely close to. Assertively, might have been asking too much. All I can really expect from you is that you work as hard as possible to try and avoid the drop. Okay, so they're now happy. Passionately, exactly the sort of reaction I needed, and at least we haven't destroyed morale on the last day of the season, which is great. End of season break will commence. We've got a training camp. Do we need to have a training camp? Which of these is going to be the most lucrative for us? France, Holland, Switzerland, Austria, Ireland, Northwest England, Andalusia Occidental in Spain, or the Algarves in Portugal. We're already in the northwest of England. Will we just be going to a caravan park in such a situation? Let's go over to France. We'll play some French teams as part of our build-up. Alright, first legs for the playoffs are finished. Cardiff won 2-0 away from home against Sheffield United, and Reading won 1-0 away from home against Swansea. A 91st minute winner for Puskás. Jumping forward to the second legs, Cardiff have beaten Sheffield United 4-0 at home, so they have gone through 6-0 on aggregate. They've got Jack Grealish playing for them. I don't think we played against him at any point when we played Cardiff. Not forgetting as well, we beat Cardiff 2-0 last time we played them, and then Reading and Swansea played out a 0-0 draw, meaning Reading go through. So it's going to be Reading versus Cardiff in the playoff final. Man City have won the English FA Cup, which I think is a treble for them. They finished top of the Premier League. Good few points clear of Manchester United. And they won the Community Shield. That's the additional treble. And then they came runners-up in the Carabao Cup, interestingly enough. Where are they at in the Champions League? Oh, they're not the final, but it is all English. Man United is playing Chelsea, repeated the 2008 final. If you're so inclined, we are 10 years into the future now. Liverpool won 3 consecutive Champions League titles before PSG won their first one, Barcelona won one, Man City won their first one, Chelsea won it 2 seasons ago, and PSG won it last year. Interesting though, very, very interesting. Good to see Man United getting back to former glories as well. Alright, so here we go. The playoff final, Cardiff versus Reading, played on a random Monday afternoon. And Reading have gotten promoted on penalties. Cardiff destroyed everybody in the playoffs except Reading, who they've run into in the final. 2-2 draw after full time. 1-1 at half time, 2-2 after 90 minutes. Nobody could be split across additional time. We get 1.1 million after finishing 16th in the league. And 4.82 as part of the solidarity scheme, which is fantastic for our finances. We are the healthiest we've ever been financially, which is great to see. Jump for one more little bit, see the end of season awards for the division itself, and then we'll call this episode wrapped up. Record high finish for FC Isle of Man. Final league position is 16th, is the highest we've ever finished. We're going to beat that again next season, mark my words. Record low number of wins, that's fine, only 17. That's not exactly the worst in the world. Low haul of league goals as well, 57. Low points total of 61. Yeah, that's fine, whatever. Commentary keen on signing Granger, that's fine. They can come in with a bid if they want to. Doran wins the top goal scorer award. 30 goals in 46 appearances, 7.26 average rating, fantastic. Congrats on winning the Sky Bet Championship top goal scorer. He's very appreciative of that. And the Wolf claims the Young Player of the Year. Not the Player of the Year, which was what I was hoping he'd get, but passionately we're going to tell him he was fantastic. Appreciate the support, but next year needs to be better. I don't disagree with you, friends, but you were fantastic. The team just needs to be better around you. 8 goals and 6 assists, 7.38 as an average rating. A fantastic, fantastic result from the Wolf. Definitely my favourite player of the series thus far. And we've had some great players. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching and spending your valuable time checking out the series. If you want to go that extra mile, if you want to help celebrate a fantastic first year in the championship, you can drop a like on this video. You can also subscribe to the channel to be kept up to date on all our future videos. We are taking a slight break from FC Isle of Man. Next week will be a one-season wonder save. I will announce that during the week on Twitter. You can also check out our links just over on the side there at @InTheMixer_FM for all our interactions within the community. And if you ever want to reach out, that's always a great place to do it. Or check out our Sunday night Twitch streams, twitch.tv/InTheMixer_FM. As always though, I've been Sean and I'll see you guys next season in The Mixer.